See, like Joe Biden, I too am a family man. Yes, Joe Biden is a great family man. I'll give you one example. So, Biden created a problem that his son profited from. Then he promised the American people to rectify said problem in order to get elected. And then after getting elected, he used his wife to walk it back in order to make it more palatable that he reneged. So what I'm talking about is student loan debt. Yes, Joe Biden had a hand in... Say what's up. Say hi.
Hi.
Joe Biden had a hand in exploding student loan debt by pushing the bankruptcy bill. This is an article in The Guardian, which is a liberal outlet, hardly a conservative rag. So, you know, they actually have a slant in favor of Joe Biden, in case you don't trust my sources. How Biden helped create the student debt problem he now promises to fix. Private student loans were largely stripped of bankruptcy protections in 2005 in a congressional move that had the devastating impact of tripling such debt over a decade and locking in millions of Americans to years of grueling repayments. The Republican-led bill tightened the bankruptcy code, unleashing a huge giveaway to lenders at the expense of indebted student borrowers. At the time, it faced vociferous opposition from 25 Democrats in the U.S. Senate. But it passed anyway, with 18 Democratic senators breaking ranks and casting their vote in favor of the bill. Of those 18, one politician stood out as an especially enthusiastic champion of the credit companies who, as it happens, had given him hundreds of thousands of dollars in campaign contributions. Joe Biden. So basically, Joe Biden broke ranks with the majority of Democrats, 25 who opposed this, and stood with the 18 Democrats that were for it and the rest of the Republican senators in helping pass this bill that tripled student loan debt, raising it from $56 billion to $150 billion in only 10 years. That's from 2005 to 2015. It's risen even higher since then. And this is after, right, the lending institutions that profited from this. This is after they gave over $500,000 in campaign contributions to Joe Biden. But don't worry, he made sure that he wasn't the only one that had to come up off of this. His son also profited off of this. So here we have an article from CBS News, which is an establishment left-leaning outlet. MBNA paid Biden's son as Biden backed bill. A son of Democratic vice presidential candidate Joe Biden was paid an undisclosed amount of money as a consultant by MBNA, the largest employer in Delaware. During the years, the senator supported legislation that was promoted by the credit card industry and opposed by consumer groups. So again, not only was Joe Biden receiving compensation or campaign contributions from MBNA and other lenders who wanted this bill to pass, his son was on retainer as a consultant by MBNA. But just to make sure that his wife wasn't left out of this family affair, during the campaign, Joe Biden promised to help alleviate some of the stress of student loan debt. But of course, he had to walk that back. And what better way to do it than to have your wife fight your battles for you?
But Joe has also had to make compromises. Congress hasn't passed the Build Back Better legislation yet. And free community college is no longer part of that package. We knew that this wasn't going to be easy. Joe always said that. Still, like you, I was disappointed.
Wow. So it all just comes around full circle. Biden and Hunter profit at the expense of the American people. And though he promised to rectify the damage, he reneges on that promise and has his wife break it to the American people. And I know what you're thinking. Well, maybe he supported this bill without understanding the potential impact. No. He knew the potential impact, and I know that he knew because there were many who warned of the potential impact. Chief among them was Elizabeth Warren. Another liberal outlet, Vox, details the 20-year argument between Joe Biden and Elizabeth Warren over bankruptcy explained. Senator Elizabeth Warren was the first Democratic 2020 hopeful to take a direct swing at former Vice President Joe Biden since he got into the race, accusing him of being on the side of the credit card companies in a fight that launched her political career a decade ago. Warren's quarrel with Biden isn't personal. It's about a 2005 bankruptcy bill he supported as a senator. Warren opposed the bill so vehemently that its passage inspired her transition from a Harvard bankruptcy law professor who studied middle-class economics to a senator and now a presidential hopeful. So the entire reason, the entire impetus for Warren entering politics was because she understood the profound impact as a bankruptcy professor. She understood the profound impact that this bill would have on society. And it did. This was back when Elizabeth Warren actually stood for something. I know what you're thinking, right? The article said that she was the first one to take a swipe at Biden when he entered the presidential the presidential campaign, right? When he announced. This was before the establishment had coalesced behind him. When it became clear that he was the establishment pick, Elizabeth Warren not only took unfair swipes at Bernie, who was Biden's number one competitor, right, to the left, the sole progressive left challenging the establishment candidate. She actually stayed in the race to siphon off votes from the progressive wing, so the progressive wing couldn't coalesce behind Bernie in the same way that the establishment wing coalesced behind Biden. Right, Pete Buttigieg, Amy Klobuchar, all those other candidates dropped out just to open up the field specifically for Biden, while Elizabeth Warren stayed in, ensuring Bernie's demise. So she's trash. And this isn't to paint Bernie Sanders as some type of saint. He's the best of the worst. He plays footsie with the establishment as well. Right, he was a champion of Russiagate, and when it was merely him versus Biden left in the presidential campaign, he didn't press Biden like he should by bringing things up such as this, because he didn't want to be blamed in case Biden lost, in the same way that he was blamed for the loss of Hillary. Right, so again, these establishment politicians, they're trash. Establishment Democrats, establishment Republicans, they are trash.